Hello, today we are talking about how to clean out your tumble dryer properly, but this isn't any ordinary tumble dryer cleaning video, of course. In this video, we're going to get right inside every nook and cranny of your tumble dryer, parts that you might not even know exist, to ensure it's properly clean. And the reason that we want to do this is, one, because it will make your tumble dryer work better, your clothes will get drier more quickly and it will be more efficient, use less electricity, so save you money, but also because getting your tumble dryer properly clean, having a proper maintenance program for your tumble dryer will help to prevent it catch fire, and fires are a huge risk with tumble dryers, so we want to do anything we can to reduce the chances of that happening. First up, the obvious one, which you'll more than likely know if you're a seasoned tumble dryer user, and that's to clean out your lint tray. Now this is something that actually you should be doing every single time you do a drying cycle, because if you don't, it's going to get pretty clogged very quickly. This usually sits somewhere around here in the bottom of your tumble dryer and is pretty easy to pull out, and you open it up and then you remove the lint. Now, if you're wondering what lint actually is, it's the excess fibres from your clothes that come off that get shed during the drying process, and some clothes you'll find shed a lot more than others, so when you've dried some garments this will be absolutely full, and then some don't seem to give off anything at all. But the interesting thing about lint is actually, one, you don't have to throw it in the bin. So as you clean this out, now if this is just your regular clean that you're doing between each cycle, you can just do it with your hands like this, but occasionally you'll want to put this in some warm soapy water and give it a good scrub to make sure there's not any bits getting stuck anywhere. But you don't actually have to put this lint in the bin, you can make use of it. If you use your lint in any way, do let me know in the comments down below. Some common uses are you can use it in the garden as mulch, or you can use it as pet bedding, or you can even light fires with it, which in itself is pretty scary and a good reason to keep on top of it. And just to show you how easily it catches light, this is the lint that I've just removed, and I'm just holding that up with a lighter, and look what happens. So our lint filter is nice and clean now. It's ready to go back in the machine once it's dry. But before we put it back inside, we just want to check out the state of the casing that holds that filter, because you might find there's more hidden lint inside there, which is where our special technical endoscope camera comes in, because we're going to have a look inside. Let's see what we can find. So I've got my little device, I'm just going to turn it on, and that is then going to turn the torch on the end of my endoscope, and I'm just going to press record, and then you'll be able to see what I am seeing. Okay, so we haven't even got inside the housing yet of the filter. This is literally just around the perimeter, and it's not actually something you want to see, is it really? But hey ho, I bet this is pretty standard. I have left this a little while just for the sake of making a decent video, sure. No, honestly. And so now we're going to delve down inside a bit deeper to see what we can find in there. And look, you can see actually quite thick lint is built up in there. And you can imagine how this starts to become a fire hazard. Here we go, this is getting down further. Need two hands now. So as you can see, that's an area that we can't ignore. So I'm now going to tackle that. I've got a damp cloth, I've got a few different brushes, I've got some pipe cleaners, and I'm going to probably use a hoover as well. By the way, before you start doing anything with your dryer, just make sure that you've turned it off the wall and unplugged it ideally as well. So we're just going to get in here with this cloth to pull out those bigger bits of lint and debris to start with, and loosen up some of the stuff that's stuck on the sides. So we can then grab our hoover and easily get rid of all the loose bits and see what we're left with. Right, now that I've loosened all that debris, for this particular dryer, this is a condenser dryer, so sitting underneath that housing for the filter is the condenser, which we can take out as well. I'll show you how to clean the condenser a little bit later on, but I'm just going to remove it because all of that debris is going to drop down there, and then I can just easily hoover that and wipe that away. So let's just pull this out and come back to that bit later. So for this part, I'm just getting my little endoscopic camera back in action, because where I've just pulled that condenser out, right at the back of that, this is another piece of casing housing that we need to pay attention to as well. You can see there all that lint stuck on the back there, so we need to get our cloth down there as well and loosen that off before we get our hoover out. So look at this bit here. We've turned a corner here with our camera, so we can get our cloth in there, but look at all that building up in there as well. So, as you can see, it is now a lot better, but there is still, I don't know if I can get my hand in here to show you, there's still quite a lot of this lint stuck. So you just need to clean while you've got a camera, if you've got a camera, or you just need to spend time being as thorough as possible. But that's actually quite a lot more that I'm still getting out there. Okay, so we've had a good clean out inside our casing for our condenser and for our filter. Now, the next step, I am going to take this little filter off here, and this is the cover for the air in. So this is where the air is being sucked into our tumble dryer to make it work. This involves undoing the screw. Now, check your warranty, check your manufacturer's instructions. Don't start taking your machine apart if you're concerned that in any way it's going to affect your warranty or anything else. But we're not under warranty with this anymore. So I'm just going to have a quick look in here and see if it would benefit from a little clean out as well. Now, don't be alarmed, that looks like thick dust and debris, but actually there's a filter in here. So most of this is filter, but we're just going to pull it out because it could do with a little bit of a clean out, and we can just vacuum this filter a little bit to make it a bit cleaner, and you can just see the dust in there as well. So we'll wipe that out as well. At the same time, just check your grill. Usually that could benefit from a clean as well. That's obviously affecting the air into your machine, so you're not getting very good suction if that's all blocked up with dust, as ours is. You could do this with warm soapy water, or you could just give it a little brush out like this. Give it a wipe afterwards. So now I'm cleaning out the condenser, which I showed you earlier, which sits underneath the drum. The condenser is the part that turns humid air into water, which is then pumped into a tank that we remove and empty. I'll show you that in a minute. You won't have one of these if you have a vented tumble dryer, but you will if you have a heat pump tumble dryer or a tumble dryer like ours. Ideally, they should be cleaned out once a month. Some tumble dryers even have a warning light to flag up when they need cleaning. So we're just rinsing this through, and you can see all the lint coming out the bottom. So just keep doing this with some running water until the water runs clear, and then leave it to dry before you pop it back in your machine. Right, so on our machine, we've also got another part, which is this little, it's like a tank that holds all the water here, and we have to empty this as it fills up as well. But the reason I want to show you this is because when you pour the water out of this tank, you'll see that it's not completely clear, which just goes to show how much debris is potentially building up around your machine. So you can see in there, there's little bits of lint and dirt and dust floating around. So that leads me to my next bit. I'm just going to take the top off the dryer, and we can have a look inside and see if there's any other areas where there's any lint kicking around as well. So that just slides off there. Pop that down here. And as you can see, again, we've got more lint just hanging around the top here. So just giving this a wipe out with a microfiber cloth. Just being careful not to drop any of that dust down inside. Right, so we've given the top a quick wipe out, but when I was looking at that, I couldn't help thinking there might be more to see down the side here. So I've just unscrewed the side panel and I'm going to pull that off. Let's have a look in here. As you can see here, we've got a big build-up of dust and of lint potentially. We saw earlier how flammable that lint is. We've got our really hot parts of our dryer just here, so this isn't a good combination. We need to address this. So I'm just going to tackle this now with our hoover again, with a soft brush on the end of that, and get this nicely cleaned out, obviously being really careful of all the parts in here. But hopefully it gives you an idea of how easily fires can start in tumble dryers. So I'm just using a soft toothbrush here for the bits I can't reach with the hoover, and just nice and gentle is key here, just to loosen off these bits of dust so that we can vacuum them away. So we've put all of our machine back together, we've cleaned out those parts that I've shown you, the bits that we took out to clean, like the water tank bit here, the filter, the condenser, they've all dried and they're back in, and the casing that surrounds them is nice and clean as well. One thing we haven't talked about is cleaning out the drum itself. Now, particularly if you use things like dryer sheets, you can get a bit of a build-up of residue in this. So if you just want to take a damp cloth, you can give that a bit of a wipe out. You might want to use some vinegar as well. Get that nice and fresh. But that is it. Your machine will be nice and clean now. The point of this video is not to encourage you to take your whole machine apart. That might not be something that you feel confident doing, or indeed if your machine's under warranty that you should be doing. But it's just to make you think that if your current regime is just to take that filter out in between dries and that's it, you might want to think a little bit beyond that. You might want to think about the casing around that, a few other areas around your dryer that you can perhaps give a bit of regular maintenance and cleaning to as well. Just because actually it's quite terrifying, that lint. When you see it, you see how it can catch light, and you really don't want to have that risk in your home. So just encouraging you to think a little bit deeper about your tumble dryer if you use it. And these are hard-working machines, aren't they? That's all for today's video. I hope that you found this useful and enjoyed it. Please do leave your comments down below. If you've got any of your own tips for keeping your machine clean and safe, then please do feel free to share them. But thanks very much for watching. See you very soon. Bye-bye.